The things that I would consider if I were to buy or sell a property in 2026. One of the most important steps in the home buying process, which is appraisals. If you have a loan in the property, you don't own the property until it's paid off. The bank owns it. So they want to secure their investment and they want to make sure that you're not overpaying at the time of the purchase. If you underpay, that's great. But if you overpay, that could be a problem. What to take in consideration when dealing with the appraiser or the appraisal process. Work with a professional that run comparables on the property prior to going into that step. You want to work with a professional that knows how to look at those numbers so you don't go blindsided, right? It can come lower, it can come add value, or it can come higher. The appraisal is done by the lender, but it's paid by the borrower. 9 out of 10 times, your agent can get you out of that trouble. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you've been in my YouTube channel recently, you know that I've been releasing a series of very short 10-minute video talking about different things when it comes to real estate and the process of buying or selling a property. A couple weeks ago, I released a video talking about the things that I would consider if I were to buy or sell a property in 2026. Last week, I released a video talking about one of the most important steps in the home buying process, which is inspections. I talk about what to look for, how much does an inspection cost, who to hire, and different things that can come up during the process, right? Today, I want to talk about one of the most important steps too, appraisals. Appraisals, yes. What is it? A licensed professional appraiser is sent usually by the institution that is going to lend the money to the borrower, right? Basically, the banks want to confirm that the property that you're purchasing worth what you're paying for. Because remember, if you have a loan in the property, you don't own the property until it's paid off. The bank owns it. So they want to secure their investment and they want to make sure that you're not overpaying at the time of the purchase. If you underpay, that's great. But if you overpay, that could be a problem. So that's why they do send a third-party company to check on the property, make sure that it's in the basic decent condition that they look for, and also that it's worth what you're paying for. They usually have a full report, a list of those things that they're going to look for as far as the main ticket items on the property to give aid value to it, and then the lender will approve or not if they release that money to you. So, what to take in consideration when dealing with the appraiser or the appraisal process? Number one is work with a professional that run comparables on the property prior to going into that step. You don't want to go blindsided. You want to make sure that you kind of have an idea on the value of the property, and the person that can help you with that the most is a real estate agent. Mind you, we realtors, we're not appraisals. We're not appraisers. What we do is a market analysis, running comparables. What are comparables? The properties that sold recently similar to yours in size, in conditions, in location, that can generate an average or an estimate on how much your property is worth. We can run an analysis, check on the comparables, and let you know kind of like an idea on what is the value. Now, when it comes to putting the value in paper, what is real, what really counts in the process, what the appraisal says. Now, most appraisals do search from the same sources that we do agent have access to. If I have access to the same information, a good professional licensed real estate agent, what they will want to do is check on that information first and discuss it with you, the potential home seller, so you both have a very good idea on what numbers you guys are looking at before putting the property on the market, so you can strategize on what is going to be the price, but also to take in consideration when it's times for the appraiser to do the report. Why? Because you don't want to get surprised. You don't want to set your expectations that you can sell your property, let's say, for $600,000, and then the appraisal comes lower at $400,000, and then you have that big gap. Because remember, whatever the appraiser says, that's the number that the lender is going to use to approve you for the loan. The lender basically says, the appraisal is telling me that your home, the home that you're purchasing, is worth this much. So I'm going to lend you this much. If there is a gap between what you already offer that seller and the number that they are borrowing to you, then you, as the prospect buyer, have to come up with that difference. And if it's a big difference, then you might not have that money. Put in that same example, you're paying $600,000 for the property, the appraiser comes at $400,000, it's a $200,000 gap. So you have a $200,000 gap that you need to come up with. Then you have the closing cost. Then you have the down payment for the $400,000 that the lender is giving to you. Of course, I am giving you a very exaggerated amount, but what if it is $25,000? What if it's $50,000? What if $10,000? It's still a decent amount of money. So that is why you want to work with a professional that knows how to look at those numbers so you don't go blindsided. Let's run some scenarios. Let's say that you're under contract on a property, right? You offer the seller $500,000 and you're under contract for $500,000. What happens if the appraisal comes for $500,000, which is the same amount that you offer to the seller? Well, in that case, everything is good, life is great, and you just move forward with the process. But what happens if the appraisal comes lower? Let's say $20,000 lower. Well, like I said, you have a big gap there, and then you, as the prospect buyer, has a choice to make here. You can either walk away, which depends on the type of contract that you write off and the clauses that you put in. You can walk away if you want. You're not obligated to purchase the property because more than likely your agent made sure that there is that contingency there, that if the appraiser comes lower, then you can walk away at any time without any penalties. The other option that you have is negotiate with the seller that gap, where they can come lower in value or in price, or you can meet them halfway. It all depends on the circumstances and the skill negotiation that your agent have. Then the other option is pay the difference and meet the seller where they're at. That could be an option too. It's up to you. It's up to the numbers that you are working with. But what if the appraisal comes higher? Let's say that we're under contract for $500,000 and the appraisal comes for $520,000. Well, life is good. Everything continues. Life is great, because what is happening there is that you're buying a property with equity, meaning you're paying less than what it's worth, which is a great news. Great news. No better news. You're buying a property for less than what it's worth. And I've seen it. It's not as common, but I've seen it myself, where the appraisal can come up higher than the contract value. And that is, again, great news. So those are different scenarios that can happen in the appraisal process, right? It can come lower, it can come at value, or it can come higher. The appraisal is done by the lender, but it's paid by the borrower. Just know that and take that in consideration. An appraisal, you might wonder, how much is an appraiser worth? It depends on different factors. But if we're going by the average appraiser value, it's anywhere between $500 to $600, $700. It depends on your market, but that's the average price point for an appraiser or an appraisal in my market, which is South Florida. So that's money paid out of pocket from you, the potential borrower. So it's money that you have to have separate from anything else. And that is paid in advance during the process. The appraisal and the inspection are the two things that money that you need to have in advance ready, because you paid that out of pocket out front in the process. Everything else, pretty much, you ended up paying it at closing. So you don't have to have the funds right now. It can be figured out with your real estate agent, with your mortgage broker. But when it comes to inspection and appraisal, it's money that you pay in advance. So I hope this video helped. Don't panic if the appraisal comes slower. It comes down 9 out of 10 times. Your agent, depending again on their negotiating skills, can get you out of that trouble, right? Because at that point, you're already under contract for a little while. You invest in a certain amount of money, time, and effort and energy that you can turn upside down on you in your favor. So if you will have any more questions regarding appraisals, inspections, reach out to me, and looking forward to working with you.